What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Game Day with Trey. Of course, it's your host, Trey, man. And today we're going to go ahead and try to get as far as we can in this NFL slate because I got a busy day. Wife got in a car accident yesterday. A lot going on. All right? Let me fix this camera for you guys a little bit, straighten that out. All right, man. Let's go ahead and get this thing started, man. First game we're going to go ahead and jump into and look at right now is going to be the Miami Dolphins at the Houston Texans. All right, so this game set to be kicked off 1 p.m. East Coast time today, December 15th, in Houston, Texas. Line is Houston by 2.5. Over under is set at 45.5. There has been some movement in this line. The line has moved towards more towards the Texans, so that means it is the Dolphins +3 now, and the over under still set at 45.5, guys. All right, but looking at these two teams, man, you got to understand something real quick, and that's understanding the line movement. So the line movement, first and foremost, this line was at 2 in some places, went all the way up to the 3 now, so it's been significant movement towards the Houston Texans, or sharp money coming in on the Houston Texans, guys. All right, but all right, let's go ahead and let's take a deeper dive into this matchup and see what the heck is going on out here, man. All right, so where is it at? Goodness. All right, so last time these two teams met was last year, October 19th, 2023. Okay, the score was 28-3. Miami won. All right, the Dolphins have won 4 of their past 5 games, but they remain a long shot to qualify for the AFC playoffs. Dolphins badly need a victory on today when they visit the Houston Texans, and this could have major implications on the AFC South and AFC playoff just in general. Okay, so Miami 6-7 fell into a deep hole earlier this season by starting out 1-3, by losing Tua for a few games, who was sidelined to the concussions, and we all know they need to get back to 500, right? This is a major game for this team. Okay, the Dolphins dropped their first 2 games after Tua returned, failed to cover. They fell to 2-6. All right. However, they have topped 30 points in 3 of their past 4 games, and after enduring an earlier stretch in which they averaged 10 points over 5 games, guys. All right. Now, when you're talking about what's going on with Houston, okay, Houston's 8-5. They could wrap up the division title today with a victory over the Dolphins and a loss for the Colts against the Broncos. The Texans lead the Colts by 2 games and swept the 2-game season series. All right. Texas quarterback C.J. Stroud, he's having a good season thus far. As good as you can when you're a sophomore and having that sophomore slump anyway. All right, and the Texans will be without safety Jalen Petrie for the rest of the season. He's slated to undergo pectoral surgery after he got hurt last week back in week 12 against the Titans. Houston's guard, Juice Scruggs, also will miss the game against Miami. And for Miami, wide receiver D. Eskridge was ruled out. Offensive tackle Taron Armstead, he's also listed as doubtful with the knee, guys. All right, so understanding what's going on, man, you got to know what's been going on statistically with these two teams, man. All right, and Miami Dolphins come in here averaging 20.3 points per game so far for the season. That's 23rd on the year. 23rd best offense in the NFL on the season, going against the Houston Texans, who give it up 22.2 points per game. That's the 12th worst defense in the NFL, guys, or 12th best defense in the NFL. However, the Miami Dolphins have been converting on 39.02% rate. That's 14th in the NFL. Problem is, Houston Texans play great defense on third down. They stop you. They hold you to 34.71% on the season. That's 6th best in the NFL, guys. As far as red zone is concerned, Miami does check that box when they get to the red zone, and Houston allows people to check that box, because Miami actually scores a touchdown 58.54% of the time when they get to the red zone, whereas the Houston Texans, they allow you to check that box 65.63% of the time, man. They give up 2.5 touchdowns a game. So and Miami, they get 2.1. All right, now when you flip it and look at an inverse, you're talking about Houston Texans offense. They score 23.7 points per game. That's 11th best in the NFL. Going against the Miami Dolphins defense, that gives you 22.5 points per game. So roughly these two teams will give you 45 points a game in total. Hence why the over-under is sitting at around at 45.5. far as on third downs, the Houston Texans have been struggling on third down. They've only been converting 37.08% of the time, whereas Miami is one of the strongest third down defenses in the NFL. They stop you and hold you to 34.42% of the time, man. The Miami Dolphins defense stops you and really put you in your place right there when it comes to third down defense. But when it comes to the red zone, they hold it down too, man. In the red zone, Miami's defense only allows a touchdown 48.72% of the time, whereas the Houston Texans, they only score a touchdown in the red zone 53.33% of the time. They score 2.4 touchdowns a game, and Miami gives up 2.2. So how are they going to move the ball? Well, problem is Miami's got literally the second worst running game in the NFL. They only get 3.9 yards per carry. That's 30th in the NFL. 105.2 yards a game. That's 25th in the NFL, guys. And when you're going against the Houston Texans defense that only gives up 109.7 yards a game on the ground and 4.4 yards per rush, that's 10th and 15th in the NFL, guys. So they actually do hold people down. What about Houston? Will they be able to run the ball? Well, they should be able to run the ball, but I highly doubt it. Okay, because they average 4.2 yards per rush. That's 18th in the NFL. Going against the Miami defense that gives up 4.3. That's 12th in the NFL. Thing is, Miami's defense full game, they only give up 105.6 yards a game on the ground. That's 7th best in the NFL. And when you're talking about a Houston Texans team who's been struggling literally on the ground for the season, only getting 114.1 yards per game, it's a problem, man. It's a problem. The thing is, though, when Houston does try to run the ball, they do get touchdowns, so they do get 1.1 touchdowns a game on the ground. That's 9th in the NFL. Will Miami be able to pass the ball? Well, Miami averages 7.1 yards per pass. That's 19th in the NFL, but they're going against the Houston Texans defense that actually only gives up 6.7 yards per pass. That's 5th in the NFL, guys. Houston gets to the quarterback third best in the NFL. 8.9% of the time they sacking your quarterback. All right. And then when you're talking about Miami allowing people to get to the quarterback, well, they allow the quarterback to get sacked 6.64% of the time. That is 17th in the NFL, man. So expect Houston to be able to get to the quarterback early and often. So Tua needs to be watching for his life out there, to be honest with you, man. And then when you're talking about, will Houston be able to pass the ball? Well, Houston gets 7.2 yards per pass. That is honestly only 17th in the NFL, guys. And they allow you to sack their quarterback 8.62% of the time. That's 25th worst in the NFL, guys. So they allow you to get to the quarterback. Problem is, Miami doesn't get to the quarterback because they only sack the quarterback 5.38% of the time. All right, so there's definite opportunity there for them to be able to move the ball, but also be able to improve on those quarterback sack rate because honestly, Miami ain't been getting to the quarterback this season. Last 3 games, Miami's averaging 27.7 points per game, giving up 23.7. So they're winning by an average of 4 points. And when you're talking about a Houston Texans team that's averaging 28 points a game in the last 3 games and only giving up 20.7, okay, that means we have a good opportunity for it over, guys, because those two teams both add up to over the 45 points when you look at that on what they would average when they're playing other teams, especially in their last 3. I love to pay attention to that because at the end of the day, I like to see how they're going right now versus what they've been doing full season. As an example, last 3 games, Miami's not converting on third down, man. On third down, they done went from converting 39.02% of the time to down to 25.71. Same with Houston. Houston on the season's at 37.08, but in the last 3 games, they're down to 31.58 as far as converting on third down. So that could be a problem, guys. That could definitely be a problem, man, when you see regression, all right, of numbers that large, okay, especially when both of these defenses actually, they're regressing a little bit too as far as their season numbers concerned, but they're not regressing as far as those offensive numbers. The Houston Texans defense isn't as good on third down as they have been. They only stop you 31.82% of the time, and the Dolphins only stop you 32% of the time. Now at home, the Houston Texans score 23.2 points a game and give up 21.8 points a game, whereas the Miami Dolphins, they score 15.8 on the road and give up 20.8. Now remember, a lot of those games were without Tua, and then also you got to understand that game in Green Bay, that did not help them statistically. On the season, both of these teams are coming in here doing what they're doing. Miami's 6-7 on the season straight up, whereas the Houston Texans are 8-5 straight up. At home, though, Houston Texans are 4-2 straight up, whereas on the road, Miami's only 2-4. All right, now against the spread, both of these teams are not too good. Okay, Miami's 5-8 against the spread, whereas you're talking about Houston Texas teams that's 5-6-2 against the spread. At home though, they're 2-3-1, so they don't cover at home, and on the road, Miami at least covers half the time. They're 3-3. All right, now as a road underdog, Miami is 2-3 against the spread, whereas as a home favorite, Houston, they're 1-3-1. Man, this is a horrible season for them against the spread. Definite opportunity for Miami to cover, especially if you get a couple points in there. All right, now if you're talking about over-unders, well, it's been 6 to the over, 7 to the under for Miami on the season, whereas for Houston, it's been 4 to the over, 9 to the under. And when they're at home, it's 1 over and 5 unders, whereas for Miami on the road and as an underdog, it's been 1 over and 4 unders. All right, so yeah, definitely leaning towards that under that 45.5, guys. That's actually looking like the best play right now thus far when I'm looking at these two teams, man, and I'm looking at how things are playing. So looking at the last 10 times these two teams have been out here on the field, Miami is 5-5, 5-5 against the spread, and 6-4, 6 to the over, 4 to the under in their last 10 games actually out playing football. Their next 3 games are against the San Francisco 49ers, the Cleveland Browns, and the New York Jets. And then when you talk about Houston 6-4 in their last 10, 5-4-1 against the spread, and 3 to the over, 6 to the under with 1 push. And as far as their last 10 games actually out here, the next 3 games are against the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Tennessee Titans, guys. All right, so understanding all that, this is what you really need to know, right? Dolphins have won each of their last 6 games when playing with a rest disadvantage. The Texans have lost 6 of their last 9 games as home favorites following a win. The Texans also have failed to cover the spread in each of their last 6 games as favorites following a road win. The Dolphins have covered the spread in 7 of their last 8 games when playing with a rest disadvantage, and the Dolphins have scored the first touchdown in each of their last 6 Sunday games. The Texans also have lost the first quarter in 6 of their last 7 home games against teams that held a losing record, and the Dolphins have won the first half in each of their last 6 Sunday games, guys. As far as total points are concerned, 7 of the Texans' last 8 Sunday games as home favorites have gone under the total points line, and 7 of the Dolphins' last 8 December games has gone as underdogs have gone over the total points line. So take that with a grain of salt, guys. All right, now Joe Mixon scored the first touchdown in 4 of the Texans' last 5 games. If you're a player prop person that's interested in that type of stuff, all right. Miami comes into this matchup after winning 4 of their last 5 games, and they've scored at least 32 points in 3 of their last 4 contests, all at home though. So the Dolphins are 2-4 on the road this season, while the Texans are 4-2 at home. All right, Houston Texans have won 2 of their last 3 games, but they really haven't played very well over the last month, man. So I don't like how Houston's playing right now. If I was going to play this game, I'm definitely looking towards the Dolphins with the points. Probably move it up to about Dolphins plus 3.5 or Dolphins plus 4. Over under, though, I do like the under in this game, guys. All right, so let's get into the next game. Looking at the Buffalo Bills at the Detroit Lions, guys. All right, so this game will be played at 4:25 p.m. today. Lions are coming in this on the season 12-1, whereas the Bills are right now 10-3 on the season. The Bills hit a 3-2 opening stretch this year, taking losses against the Ravens and the Texans, while the winning streak started a little bit after that. They started beating the Jets, the Titans, the Seahawks, the Dolphins, the Colts, the Chiefs, the 49ers. They won 7 games straight, but then last week they came up against them Rams, man, and the Bills gave up double-digit points in both the second and third quarters during a tough loss to 44-42. Josh Allen threw for 342 yards, 3 scores, while also leading the rush on 10 carries, 82 yards, and 3 more touchdowns, man. Whereas when you're talking about these Detroit Lions, man, they've been on a roll. Okay, they hadn't lost since they lost to my Bucks. Okay, and they're beating everybody. They beat the Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks, Cowboys, Vikings, Titans, Packers, Texans, Jaguars, Colts, Bears, Packers. Like, come on, man. They're doing it all in succession. All right, and then last Thursday matchup against the Packers, the Lions were outscored 24-17 in the second half, but still managed to hold on to a 34-31 victory, guys. Jared Goff, he finished with 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Tops in receiving was Jamison Williams. He had 5 catches for 80 yards in that that game, guys. All right, so understanding all that, this is something you got to know. The last time these two teams met was way back November 24th, 2022. All right, Buffalo did win 28-25. So if you remember correctly, that was the year when Detroit was actually getting their momentum started. That's when all of this momentum started, when they started covering on everybody, man. If you remember correctly. Now, excuse me. Oh man, excuse me. All right, now it would not come as a big surprise to me if Buffalo and Detroit wound up facing each other in February. We all know that. All right, when the two Super Bowl contenders match up at the Lions today, all right, the primary concern for the Bills will be getting their defense straightened out, because Buffalo had its 7-game winning streak snapped last week, just like we just got done talking about. The Rams ended up racking up 457 total yards on them, okay, and they scored on all but one of their 6 red zone possessions, man. So Buffalo's defense really failed to generate a sack or a turnover that whole game. That was just what it is. All right, the Rams came out supercharged and did what they were supposed to do. Okay, now what you're talking about with the Detroit Lions, man, they got a very injury-riddled defense. They got a few extra days to heal up, though, after that 34-31 victory over the Green Bay Packers on December 5th. All right, the Lions defense is getting healthier. You can expect Josh Pascal, Owuzurike, and DJ Ritter, all who missed the Packers game, probably most likely will be playing today. So that defense will be back today, guys. All right, Campbell, fellow defensive lineman, McNeil, who was in a concussion protocol, practiced all week this week, as did offensive tackle Taylor Decker, which is huge for the Detroit Lions, who missed the past 2 games. The only player Detroit has ruled out still is Trevor Nowasuke, Nowaski, or whatever the heck his name is, with the concussion, man. Buffalo tight end Dalton Kincaid should be coming back, too, from that knee injury. So expect to see him out there. Now, as far as what these two teams are looking like in the last 3 games that they've actually been out on the football field, right? The Buffalo Bills are averaging 35.7 points per game, giving up 25 points a game, guys. Whereas Detroit is scoring 27 points a game and only giving up 19, man. Detroit Lions on the season, if you just understood where they're sitting at, Detroit Lions defense is honestly the second best defense in the NFL, man. On the season, they only give up 18 points a game. Buffalo does average 30.5. They're the second best offense in the NFL. They average 6.0 yards per play, 6th best in the NFL. Going against the Detroit Lions defense, that only gives up 5.4. That's 14th in the NFL, guys. As far as third down conversions, will Buffalo be able to convert? Probably not, because Detroit's got the best third down conversion defense in the NFL. They can only allow you to convert 31.25% of the time, whereas Buffalo converts 43.42% of the time. They're the 8th best in the NFL. So the rubber's going to meet the road in this game, man, especially when it gets to the red zone, because Detroit's got the 4th best red zone defense in the NFL when it comes to allowing teams to score opposing touchdowns. They only give up 1.8 touchdowns a game on defense. That's 3rd best. And then 47.22% of the time, they'll let you score a touchdown. But outside of that, it's nothing, man. And then when you're talking about Buffalo gets down there and they check the box every time, 68.52% of the time. That's the 5th best in the NFL. They get 3.8 touchdowns a game, but I don't know if it's going to happen this game, man. Not if that defensive line is back like they say they should be back tonight. Okay, so when we talk about the Detroit Lions offense gets 32.1 points per game. That's number 1 offense in the NFL, and they're going against a Buffalo defense who looked like a sieve last week. They couldn't stop anybody. Couldn't stop Kyron Williams. Couldn't stop Matthew Stafford. They didn't know what they were doing. They were discombobulated when it came to stopping Puka and Cooper Kupp. So this week when they're playing the Detroit Lions, when you're talking about Jameson Williamson and Amon-Ra St. Brown and David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, it could be a problem. It could definitely be a problem for the Buffalo Bills defense, man. Okay, because Buffalo Bills defense they allow you to run for 4.7 yards a carry. Okay, that is the 26th worst defense against the run in the NFL. They give up 123.1 yards a game. That's 19th worst in the NFL, man. Now, and you going against a Detroit Lions who's getting 4.6 on the ground per carry, 6th or 8th best in the NFL at 151 yards a game on the ground. That's 4th best in the NFL, man. They're gonna run it right down their throat all day long. This will be a Dan Campbell knee biting game, man. Yeah, that's why I said it, because he finna turn up in this game, man. And then when you look at Buffalo, they've been doing better at trying to decide what they want to do with the ball. So they do run the ball a little bit better now. They've been giving the ball to James Cook. They get 4.5 yards per carry, 10th best in the NFL, 125.7 yards a game on the ground, 11th best in the NFL, and they're gonna check that box with a run, at least 1.8 run touchdowns a game. That's second best in the NFL. Problem is, man, they going against the Detroit Lions defense. That full game, they're the fifth best defense in the NFL against the run. They only give up 93.9 yards a game on the ground, and they don't even give up a full touchdown a game on the ground. So that's where the rubber's going to meet the road for Buffalo, which is probably going to force them to try to pass the ball. Now, will they be able to pass it? I don't know, man, because Buffalo, they do average 7.7 yards per pass, 10th best in the NFL, but they're going against a Detroit defense that only gives you 6.9. They are literally the 8th best defense as far as opposing yards per pass allowed in the NFL, man. They get to the quarterback 6.38% of the time. That's 23rd in the NFL, and thing is, Buffalo don't allow you to get to the quarterback. Buffalo actually is the best offensive line or quarterback combination for stopping quarterback sacks, because they only get sacked 3.7% of the time, guys. So it ain't going to work on that. All right, well, Detroit be passing the ball. Well, Detroit gets 8.5 yards per pass, man. That's third best in the NFL. Buffalo's 10th best in the NFL on that metric. They give up 6.9. Okay, full game, they only give up 208.9 yards on through the air. You know what I mean? But the thing is, they don't get to the quarterback because they only sack the quarterback 6.44% of the time, guys. And you're talking about a Detroit Lions team that's 12th best in the NFL, stopping only allowing their quarterback to get sacked 5.98% of the time. So it's definitely something to look at there. And then when you talk about Detroit at home scores 35 points a game and only gives up 20, whereas Buffalo on the road, they only score 26.7 points per game and they get and they give up 23.1. So it's big opportunity for Detroit to take off in this game. That's why the line has not really moved. Okay, and it's actually, if I'm looking at it correctly, let's see where we're at right now. Hold on. Yeah, now it's moved even more towards the Lions. Lions moved to Lions minus 2.5. Over under still set at that 54.5, guys. So a lot of movement in this game, and I'm telling you right now, I know which way I'm going with this. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you why. All right, so I'm actually gonna rock with the Detroit Lions on this one, man. I like the Detroit Lions money line. As far as over/under is concerned, that 54.5 is a high total, and there's gonna be a lot of running. I can see a lot of running, but the thing is that Lions, they break big runs, man. They break big runs, and I know Buffalo is gonna have to put it in the air a lot this game because the Lions have one of the best rushing defenses in the NFL. So I definitely like the money line. And even though that total is super high at that 54.5, I still would have to lean towards the over on that one, guys. All right, so next game we're going to look at right now is going to be Pittsburgh Steelers playing against the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm sorry, Philadelphia Eagles, guys. Don't want to confuse those two. The Eagles are way better than the 76ers so far this year, man. Like 76ers slipping. Anyway, that's the whole other thing. All right, so the Eagles will seek their first 10-game winning streak in franchise's 92-year history, guys, when they host the Keystone State rival, Pittsburgh Steelers today. Okay, now the Eagles are 11-2 despite being unbeaten since September. They enter this colossal clash under the cloud of controversy regarding allegations between or a deteriorating relationship, really, between a quarterback and a wide receiver by the name of A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, which I'm still not understanding what A.J. Brown is tripping about. This has got to be something off the field. It can't be. It shouldn't be the fact that he's not getting the ball as much, because up until last week he was on pace with everybody else. Okay, as far as the best wide receivers in the league, so and the amount of times he was getting the ball thrown to him. So Anyway, I digress, man. There's a little margin for error in this game, though, because Russell Wilson been looking good. The Eagles are 10-3. They won 7 of their last 8 games, and the only loss was in the stretch. And that stretch was by 5 points in the snow to Jameis Winston and the Cleveland Browns. All right, now the Eagles spent part of the week doing damage control after Captain Brandon Graham went on that podcast and basically put Hurts and Brown's relationship on blast, talking about they ain't no longer friends, even though Hurts is Brown's son's godfather, you know what I mean, which makes it even crazier. All right. Graham later apologized for his remarks, which came in at the wrong time after Jalen Hurts just threw him for only 108 yards. That's a season low, guys. Brown had 4 passes for 43 yards in that tough matchup. Like he's got to understand they got to run the ball, man, and they are a running team. This is Saquon's team right now, man. All right, now, and when we're talking about what's been going on with the Steelers have continued to get better every week since Wilson became a starter in Week 7. Pittsburgh can join the Eagles in the playoff field with a win today in Philly. All right, now 9-time Pro Bowl selection and posting regular season during the decade with Seattle. Wilson 6-1. All right, this season he's compiled a hell of a record right now, and he's putting up some decent numbers. Okay, Pittsburgh's manpower will not include number 1 wide receiver George Pickens. All right, he's going to be sidelined with the hamstring. Deshaun Elliott, he's going to be him. He's got the hamstring, and Larry Ogunjobi with the groin, all ruled out. All right. And then as far as the Steelers concerned, Steelers tackle Montarius Adams, he's out with the knee and or questionable, and Calvin Anderson's also going to be questionable. All right, Philly will be without Britton Covey with that neck, but outside of that, man, let's go ahead and let's take a little deeper look into this matchup in these two teams. So we got a Pittsburgh Steelers team that's on the season averaging 24.8 points per game. That's 10th best in the NFL, going against the Philadelphia defense, which is the second best in the NFL. That gives up 18 points a game, guys. All right, so it's gonna be tough sledding for Russell Wilson and them out there today. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at this line, like the Steelers by 5.5, over under set at 43, what's really going on? Why is it line at 5.5? I get it. You know, we are looking at a team that is that's both are trending up. But how in the hell are the Steelers getting 5.5? That line should be 3. You know what I'm saying? Like that line really should be like 3 or 2. There's no way on God's green earth I would have put that line at 5.5. But somebody got to know something. So that's why I'm going to go and try to explain what's going on here, man. So Philly's got the number 2 defense. Like I said, they only give up 4.7 yards a play. That's number 1 in the NFL. They only allow you to convert on third down 34.38% of the time. That's 3rd in the NFL. And they only allow you to check the box in the end zone 48.72% of the time. That's 6th in the NFL. And they only give up 1.9 touchdowns a game. Okay, so that's 4th in the NFL. When you listen to all those metrics, and then you look on the other end, you look Pittsburgh on third down, they're middle of the pack. They convert 39.44% of the time. In the red zone, they score a touchdown 45.65% of the time. Literally the 29th worst in the NFL. When Pittsburgh gets down there and it gets confined, they just can't score touchdowns, guys. And that's a problem in this game. All right? There's definitely a problem in this game. They do get 2.4 touchdowns a game, though. And Philly's offense is fucking off the chain right now. Excuse my language. They're getting 26.3 points per game. That's 8th in the NFL. The thing is, they're going against Pittsburgh Steelers defense that only gives up 18.3 points per game. That's literally the 5th best defense in the NFL. They only give up 5.3 yards per play. They only give up, and they only allow you to convert on third down 32.47% of the time. Like, Pittsburgh's defense is checking all the boxes that you need to check to be an elite all-time defense right now. The only problem is that when you get down to the red zone, they allow you to score, because they allow you to score a touchdown 53.66% of the time. And the thing is, Philly, they check that box 59.18% of the time. That's 9th best in the NFL. So when Philly does matriculate the ball down the field, I can see them scoring. Okay. Now, how is Philly going to get the ball down the field, though? Because at the end of the day, Philly is number 2 rushing offense in the NFL. They get 5.2 yards per rush, 190.5 yards, 190.5 yards per game. That is number one in the NFL. And they're going against Pittsburgh, who gives up nothing on the ground. They only give you 4.1 yards on the ground per rush. That's sixth in the NFL, and 91.5 yards per game. Okay, that's fourth best in the NFL, guys. So at the end of the day, this is where the rubber's going to meet the road, because that means Philly's going to have to try to pass the ball. Is Pittsburgh going to be able to run the ball, though? Well, Pittsburgh sucks at running it. They get 3.9 yards per rush. It's 29th in the NFL, but full game, they get 132.1. So full game, they do their thing. But as far as short term, like play to play, it ain't really happening. So they bust off some long runs somewhere in there, right? And then when you talking about Philly's defense, they're 10th best in the NFL, only giving up 4.3 yards per rush, and 8th best in the NFL full game. They only give up 105.8 full game, guys. So then let's look passing, right? Is Pittsburgh going to be able to pass the ball? Because they're the ninth best in the NFL, getting 7.7 yards per pass, going against the number one defense in the NFL as far as yards per pass in that Philadelphia Eagles, who only give up 6.1. Like, they only give up 6.1 yards per pass, guys, full game. So that's definitely a problem. And Philly gets to the quarterback 8.04% of the time. That's seventh best in the NFL. And Pittsburgh allows you to get some sacks, man, because they allow you to get to the quarterback 8.52% of the time. So that could definitely be a problem. What about, will Philly be able to pass the ball? Because they're the sixth best in the NFL as far as yards per pass. Now, full game, they're literally the second worst full game. They only get 180 yards a game, okay, in the air, all right? But they do get 7.9 yards per pass. So that's sixth best in the NFL. And the thing is, Pittsburgh's defense be holding people down. Pittsburgh's defense only gives up 6.9 yards per pass, okay? That is ninth best in the NFL. And, they get to the quarterback, I want to say like the second quickest in the NFL. You only got like 2.5 seconds or some 2.1 seconds, some ridiculously low number like that. So they get pressure on the quarterback, even though they don't get sacks on the quarterback, guys. All right, so in the last three games, Pittsburgh's been scoring 30 points per game, giving up 25.3 points per game. So that comes to 53 or 55 points a game. And Philly, they get 27.7 points per game, but they only give up 18.3. So that defense has still been holding it down. Pittsburgh's defense has fallen off in the last three games, guys, which could be very troubling and could tell you why this line is at that 5.5. You know what I mean? Now, on the road, Pittsburgh scores 25.4 points per game and gives up 20.7, whereas Philly at home, they get 23.4, but they give up 19 points per game, guys. And that's why I think this could be, that's why I thought it should be 3. You know what I mean? That's why I thought it should be 3. So, situationally, okay, against the spread, Pittsburgh's 10-3 against the spread on the year, whereas Philly's coming in here 8-5 against the spread on the year. As far as on the road as an underdog, so far this year, they're 3-0 against the spread. When you're talking about Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin and Philly as a home favorite on the season, they are only 1-4 against the spread, guys. All right, so looks like the dogs might be barking in this one. Okay, and then you talking about over/under. It's been 7 to the over, 6 to the under for Pittsburgh so far this season. But for Philly, it's been 5 to the over and 8 unders they done played, guys. All right, now at home, it's always an under. Okay, especially when they're a home favorite. It's 1 over, 4 unders in the 5 games they played at home. Whereas on the road, Pittsburgh, as an underdog, it's been 2 overs and 1 under. All right, so Pittsburgh does kind of get some over games, I guess, when they are underdogs, but they're 3-0 against the spread, guys. All right, and once again, like I said, Philly at home, Philly defense, Philly, the fact that they're going to try to run the ball, it's definitely leaning a certain way, guys, and I'm going to let you know that in 1 second. So, looking at these two teams in the last 10 games they've been out here, though, okay, Pittsburgh 7-3 straight up, 7-3 against the spread, and 7 to the over, 3 to the under in their last 10 games. Next 3 games are against Baltimore, Kansas City, and Cincinnati, man. Dang, they just got murderers row over the last few games, man. Listen to who they got done playing those last 3 games. Cleveland, Cincinnati, Cleveland. Before that, it was Baltimore, Washington. Okay, like they've had 1, 3, 4, 5, like 5, 6 games, man, that were pretty tough games in a row. Whereas when you're looking at this Philly team, They just got them struggling with the Carolina Panthers. Okay, all right. And in the last 10 games, they're 9-1 straight up, 6-4 against the spread, 4 to the over, 6 to the under. They are on a 2-game under streak. Okay, and as far as last 3 games, they're 2-1. All right, against the spread. Their next 3 games are against Washington, Dallas, and New York Giants, guys. All right, head to head, Philly does run this 3-2. It's been 4-1 against the spread, and it's been 2 overs and 3 unders, even though they haven't met since 2022. And that game was 35-13. Philly won. All right, so let's go ahead and finish doing this real quick, guys. So where do I sit with this? How do I feel on this game? Well, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I like the money, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Mike Tomlin guy. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna give you some reasons why Philly can do this too, right? The Eagles have won each of their last 9 games. The Steelers have lost 3 of their last 4 road games against NFC East opponents on a winning streak. The Eagles have covered the spread in 4 of their last 5 games. The Steelers have lost the first quarter in each of their last 4 December road games against NFC East opponents. The Eagles have won the first half in each of their last 7 December games as favorites, and the Eagles have scored the first touchdown in each of their last 8 games as favorites against AFC opponents, guys. All right, so understanding all that, Philadelphia Eagles have found the stride over the last month, all right, or so, and should be favored at home. The Eagles have a well-balanced team and have the top rushing attack that allows them to ice games. However, we're getting a lot of points with the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, man, and Mike Tomlin's a beast as a dog, all right. They won 7 of their last 8, all right, and hell, man, the Steelers are 10-3 against the spread on the season, making them the best cover team in the NFL, right there with the Broncos, man. All right, and the Steelers are 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 games as underdogs. All right, and all 7 of those covers were outright wins. So I got to take the 5.5, guys. I'm sorry, I'm taking Pittsburgh with the 5.5. I love the under. Okay, and yeah. I love that. That's the way I'm taking it, man. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's look at this next game, man. So next game I'll look at is Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Los Angeles Chargers. All right. So last time these 2 teams did meet was October 4th, way back in 2020. So it was not the same teams, but the score was a little crazy because Bucs won 38-31. All right. Something has to give on Sunday when Tampa Bay Buccaneers visit the Chargers in Inglewood, though. For both the NFC South leading Tampa Bay Bucs, which are 7-6, and AFC wildcard hopeful Chargers, who are 8-5, they're keeping their fingers crossed, and it isn't for a playoff spot. All right, because there's a few weeks left. All right, so nothing's guaranteed right now, guys. All right, the Chargers boast the top-ranked scoring defense in the NFL. They give up 15.9 points per game, and haven't allowed 20. They've allowed 20 or less points in 11 of their last 13 games, guys. Meanwhile, Tampa Bay's got the 5th best scoring offense in the league. So this is going to be rubber meets the road. We average 27.9 points per game, guys. An unexpected variable arose Wednesday for Los Angeles, though, when Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh revealed that Justin Herbert, he's got an injured ankle to go with a left leg contusion sustained in the loss to Kansas City last Sunday. Herbert did not practice on Wednesday, and he was limited on Thursday before working a full practice on Friday. He is expected to be ready today, but at the end of the day, man, he is banged up. All right. So though the Buccaneers have been powered by a potent Russian attack led by Bucky Irvin and Rashad White and my man Tuck, all right, Baker Mayfield is the dynamic ringmaster for this team, guys. He is the engine that keeps this thing going. All right, he's shaking and baking out there. All right, he's got 3 consecutive contests that they've won since the bye. All right, which was week 11. And Mayfield's tied for 3rd in the league with 28 touchdown passes right now. Tampa Bay moved into sole possession of first place in the NFC South last week when we won 28-13 home victory over Vegas Raiders. that was closer than the score actually indicates, guys. Tampa Bay was bogged down by the Raiders' pass rush in the middle quarters, but got scores from Jalen McMillan and White in the fourth quarter to win and pass the Atlanta Falcons in the standings. Mayfield produced 295 yards, 3 touchdowns, 18 for 29 passing, but he had 2 interceptions and lost a fumble in the first half as the Bucs failed to capitalize on those chances. Uh, at the end of the day, man, Bowles is saying that the status for Irving on Sunday is contingent on that lingering stiffness that he's dealing with, man. After not practicing on Wednesday and Thursday, Irving was limited on Friday and is questionable. Safety Anton Winfield Jr., however, is expected to be out multiple weeks due to the knee sprain. So he's going to be ruled out for this game, guys. That means we'll have the backup safeties in. And when you're talking about the Chargers, and they've got some injuries themselves, man. But Los Angeles hasn't been as effective in translating solid team efforts into wins, man. The Chargers have lost 2 of their past 3 games to the Baltimore Ravens and the Chiefs, and dropped a 19-17 heartbreaker last week with that Chiefs game. Still, the Chargers are currently hold the 6th spot in the wild card in the AFC because of a head-to-head win over the Denver Broncos. Chargers rookie wide receiver Ladd McConkey missed last week with a knee and shoulder injuries, but is expected to play Sunday, despite being limited in practice all week. He's expected to miss multiple weeks. All right, tight end Will Disley with the shoulder, he's been ruled out, along with wide receiver Jalen Reagor as well with the finger. Chargers outside linebacker Joey Bosa with the hip. He returned to full practice on Friday and was not on the injury report. Denzel Perryman also is considered questionable. Bucs linebacker KJ Britt, he's with the ankle. Mike Edwards with the hamstring. Marquise Watts with the knee. Cameron Johnson with the ankle, all been ruled out. Wide receiver Mike Evans, his hamstring is limited in practice on Friday, but he is expected to play, guys. So expect to see Mike out there, right? All right, so looking at these 2 teams, man, you got to understand what they've been doing statistically out there. I already told you the Bucs got the 5th best offense in the NFL, and they're going against the number 1 defense. But when you flip it and you look on the other end, this is where the real battle for me is going to be. It's going to be the Chargers offense versus the Bucs defense, okay? Because the Chargers offense is only averaging 21.3 points per game. That's 20th in the NFL. When you're talking about a Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that's giving up 23.8 points per game, 22nd in the NFL, guys, that's not too good. All right, especially when you're looking on third down, they allow you to convert 41.92% of the time, but the Chargers only convert 38.37% of the time. So that's definitely leaning in the Bucs' favor, especially since the Bucs' defense in the red zone tightens up. They allow you to score a touchdown 51.02% of the time. That's 10th in the NFL, going against the LA Chargers offense that only scores a touchdown 54.55% of the time. That's 18th in the NFL when they get down there. Will the Bucs be able to run the ball? Because that's the bread and butter. Yes. Okay. Bucs average 5.1 yards per rush. Chargers give up 4.6 yards per rush on the ground. They give up 117.6 yards a game, and the Bucs get 138. So that's 7th best versus 13th. Okay, Bucs lean Bucs on that. Bucs will be able to run the ball. Chargers don't really run the ball, but they do move the ball the slowest in the NFL. Okay, they average 4.1 yards per rush. That's 21st in the NFL, going against a Buccaneer defense that's been giving it up 4.6 yards per rush. Okay. And 115.2 yards a game. That's 11th best in the NFL now. Problem is that the Chargers only get 111.5. So that's 19th in the NFL, man. Will the Bucs be able to pass the ball against this number 2 Chargers defense? It's possible. Okay, Bucs are getting 7.6 yards per pass. Baker Mayfield's completing 70.25% of his passes, and Chargers only allowed you to complete 63.47%. That's 8th in the NFL, and 6.6 yards per pass. That is 2nd in the NFL. They get to the quarterback at an amazing rate, sacking the quarterback 8.18% of the time. That's 6th in the NFL, guys. All right. So looking at all that, understanding what they've been doing in their last 3 games. These 2 teams. The Bucs are averaging 28 points a game, giving up 14.3 points per game, and the Chargers are only averaging 19 points a game and giving up 20.7 points per game. So the question is, will the Bucs be able to get over that team total? Okay, because the Bucs team total for the day is set at 20.5 points. All right. Chargers have not been giving up points like that. Chargers defense be biting out there. really, really think that our offense is going to actually score some touchdowns, man, because we're going to be able to run the ball. Okay, so I like the Bucks over the 20.5 points. I like them to be one of the only other teams to score more than 20.5 points against this team. So this season, all right, since Jim Harbaugh has taken over this team, man. However, I do like the under in this game. I like the game under the 45.5. The reason I like it under the 45.5 is because the Chargers move the ball the slowest in the NFL. Like they just matriculate the ball very, very slowly down the field. So there's no way in hell I could ever take the over in this game, even though my Bucks score a lot of points. All right, like I said, the Chargers are getting the edge from the odds makers because of that home field, but we know they don't have much of a home field advantage. They do play in Inglewood, and they're not like, come on, man. Their team, their fans are still in San Diego. Okay, the Chargers are banged up on the offensive side of the ball, and it's going to force Herbert to try to play damn near perfect ball. Okay, the Bucks are coming off 3 straight wins. Defense is getting better. Defense is getting tighter. Like I said, I like the Bucks plus the 3. I like the Bucks over the team total over the 20.5, and I like the game under the 45.5, guys. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do one more game with you guys real quick, and then I got to get up out of here, man. All right, so last game that we are going to cover is going to be, let's do that interesting one, man. That's very interesting to me. Let's do this Green Bay and Seattle game. Or actually, no, we'll do Denver and the Colts. Okay, so Denver will be playing the Colts. Denver's line is Denver by 4. Over under set at 43.5, and they're going to be playing in Denver. Game kicks off at 4:25 p.m. East Coast time. All right, so looking at these two teams, man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do one more game after this too. But looking at these two teams, guys, you got to understand what they've been scoring out here and how they've been playing so far this season. And we're talking about Denver Broncos defense. That's the second best in the NFL. They only give up 18 points a game. And Colts, they average 20.5 points a game. That's 22nd in the NFL. So definitely lean in Denver there. Denver also is the second best as far as yards per play. They only give up 4.9 yards per play. So, and you're going against the 16th best offense in the NFL as far as yards per play, 5.3. Denver's gonna hold them there. Then look what happens on third down, though. That's where the problem begins, because Denver's defense on third down ain't that good. They allow you to convert 37.43% of the time. That's 16th in the NFL. Going against the Colts offense that converts 36.65% of the time on third down. So I believe they will be able to get the ball down the field. Problem is, when they get it down there, they ain't gonna score no touchdown, because Denver stops you and holds you to 43.24% of the time scoring a touchdown, whereas the Colts actually only score a touchdown 55% of the time when they get down to that red zone. Well, what's going to happen with Denver's offense, man? Because Denver's offense is going to go down there and 23.5 points a game. That's 13th in the NFL, going against a Colts defense that gives up 22.9. So, yeah, I can see some points being allowed in this game, man, especially when you look at how these teams play in the last 3 games, okay? But before we get there, how are they going to move the ball, okay? Well, the Colts ain't going to be able to run the ball, okay, because Denver's got third best rushing defense in the NFL as far as per play, and 6th as far as full game. They give up 94 yards a game, and they only give up 3.8 yards per play. So you ain't finna run the ball on them, man. And the Colts are middle of the pack right now, 4.4 yards per rush, 118.8 yards per game. That's middle of the pack, 14th. Denver's not going to be able to run the ball neither, though, okay, because Denver only averages 4.2 yards per rush, whereas the Colts give up 4.6, so that's 19th versus 21st, guys. Full game, the Colts give up 147 yards a game, guys, so maybe Denver will be able to run the ball full game, even though they are the 20th best running offense in the NFL, getting 111.2. Like, the Colts give it up on the ground, man. So obviously, and honestly, Denver should be able to move the ball like that. Well, what's going on with the Colts? Are they going to be able to pass the ball on them? No, they ain't going to be able to pass the ball on Denver neither. Denver's got the 6th best defense in the NFL as far as yards per pass. Only give up 6.7 yards per pass. And the Colts, they get 7. So that's 20th. But their completion rate is at 50. 55.96%. They only complete 55.96% of their passes over there with the Colts, man. They don't know how to throw the ball. They're only getting 192.7 yards a game on the ground, through the air. So that's not working, man. What about Denver? Can Denver pass the ball? Well, they get 6.6 yards per pass, 64% of the passes they complete, and they're going against literally the defense that allows the second worst, or they are the second worst as far as allowing quarterbacks to complete 70.45% of their passes per game, guys. So yeah, that's not going to work. They ain't going to be able to stop them there, man. Where am I at right now? Where am I leaning? I'm gonna be honest with you. Looking at these two teams and how they play, I definitely got to say well, I like the Broncos over 23.5 team total points. I probably would take the under the 20.5 for the Colts team total. Um, I'd like the Broncos money line, and if I bought a couple points, probably. I just don't think. I think in Denver and in Mile High, the Broncos play some of the best football possible, and I don't think the Colts are ready for that style of game. Okay. Last game I'm going to cover, guys, because I got to go, is this Kansas City Chiefs versus the Browns. Okay. All right. So let me just open up this window real quick. There it is. All right. So last game right now, we got the Kansas City Chiefs visiting the Cleveland Browns. This game be played 1 p.m. East Coast time in Cleveland, Ohio. Line is Kansas City by 4.5. Some places is Kansas City by 4. Over under is at 41 some places, and at some places is at 42. Okay, this line has significantly moved. It was Kansas City by 6 at one point in time this week. The line has moved in favor of Cleveland. All right, so let's look at this and let's figure out why. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. First and foremost, when you're looking at these two teams, you got to understand that against the spread, Kansas City Chiefs are 5-8 against the spread, man. Now Cleveland is only 4-9 against the spread, but it's not saying much when you're the Kansas City Chiefs, a team that's 12-1, okay, and you're going against a 3-10 team, and you're giving up 4 points. Okay, that's because you don't cover. I don't think this team has been interested in covering all season long. I think that they're a team that just wants to win, and that's cool because that's the way you're supposed to be if you're a team that has playoff and Super Bowl aspirations, guys. All right, so against the spread as a away favorite, the Kansas City Chiefs are 3-3, whereas as a home underdog, the Cleveland Browns are 2-2. Okay, as far as over-under is concerned, it's been 6 to the over, 7 to the under for Kansas City, and same for Cleveland, identical. And then as a home team, it's 3 to the over, 3 to the under. Same with as a home underdog. And then if you're looking at it as a way favorite, that's been 2 to the over, 2 to the under, man. So when I'm looking at these two teams and I'm trying to understand why this line is the way it is, first thing I'm always going to look at is what they've been doing in their last 3 games. So in the last 3 games, Kansas City Chiefs have scored 22.7 points per game, giving up 20.3 points per game, whereas the Cleveland Browns, they're scoring 23.3 points per game and giving up 29 points per game on the season, guys, in the last 3 games. It's a problem in the last 3 games. They've given up some points. They've been losing by 5.7 points per game, but Kansas City's only winning by 2 points a game in the last 3 games, guys. And as far as how these teams have looked in the last times that they've actually been out on the field with each other, all right, in the last 10 times Kansas City's been on the field, they're 9-1, 3-7 against the spread, 4 to the over, 6 to the under. Next 3 games are against Houston, Pittsburgh, and Denver. And then Cleveland, last 10 times they've been out here, they're 2-8, 3-7 against the spread, 5-5 as far as over unders. They're on a 2-game losing streak. And in their last 3 games, they had 2 games go over and 1 under. Head-to-head, these two teams, Kansas City does run this 6-3, but the Browns run it against the spread 7-2. And it's been 5 overs and 4 unders. Last time they did meet was way back in 2021. And Kansas City is currently on a 5-game win streak against the Cleveland Browns. But Cleveland over that streak has covered every game except for once. Okay, so Yeah, Cleveland could be the live dog today, and I actually like them. I like Cleveland as the live dog, man. I already got Cleveland plus the 6, so I got in earlier this week. But if you want to, you can buy a couple points and get it back, or you can stay right there at Cleveland plus 4. But I do like Cleveland plus the 6, and I like the game under the 42. I think it's moved down for a reason, and yeah, that's what I like, man. But I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all have a blessed day. Stay safe. I'ma holla at y'all, man. See y'all at the window. Peace.